I am so excited. Tonight, we have an incredible, incredible night. We are going to New York. It's Friday and it's night at night on Friday night, and it's all about the fun. And that's travel time with our wonderful travel agency based in New York and California, and our world traveler, Andy Bowman, that tells us from a tourist perspective how to do this. And so together, it's an incredible night. They're both going to be talking about New York and their experiences, and you're in for a great ride. So right now, let's get started. So excited. Erin, we're going to talk about New York. I can't wait till we can hear about it. She's been there many times. And so here's our Huckleberry travel agent. You're Huckleberry too. It's just huckleberry.com. And I'll just say, welcome, Erin.
Hi, how are you?
Doing excellent. I am so excited. My daughter's in New York right now, and you have a lot to tell us about it. Your agency's in New York. Let's talk a little bit about your Huckleberry.
Yeah. So we are, I guess you could say we're based in Brooklyn. I mean, we're actually all over the United States at this point, but we started in Brooklyn. So we're Brooklyn, our home is Brooklyn. I have been going back and forth to New York since I was like 6 weeks old. I mean, really teeny tiny. My entire family is from there. So yeah, I just have a really special place in my heart for New York, and Huckleberry obviously has a special place in their heart for New York too. So
with you always have places or quotes on discounts or specials or something for any round trips to New York?
We, I mean, you know, we actually have a lot of hotel suppliers we work with in New York very closely. Mm-hmm. And we work with a company called Beyond Times Square, who does really cool excursions in and around New York. Not your typical, you know, big bus tours. They focus on kind of, I don't want to say it's hidden New York because people know about it. It's maybe more bucket list New York, but it's stuff that you wouldn't even know you'd be able to do. So I'm gonna talk a little bit about some of their excursions as we kind of go through these pictures. But we work with them quite a bit. They're a really cool company, Beyond Times Square, and they're fully customizable. So if you see something that you think would be fun, but you don't want to do it quite the way they want you to do it, they're happy to customize it so that it's perfect just for you. And that's one of the reasons we really like working with them.
Oh, well, I'm excited going, so I'm gonna let you take it over.
Okay. All right, so that previous picture obviously was the Isle of Manhattan. The tallest building in the picture is obviously One World Trade, which was rebuilt after 9/11. It is 1,776 feet tall. for, a reason. 1776 was also the year, obviously, of our independence, and they wanted to make sure that there was kind of that tie-in. You can go up to the very top of it. They have an observation deck. That elevator is like a roller coaster ride. Because the building is so tall, your ears pop like in the elevator, and the elevator it goes faster than I think it should, and it is a little bit stomach flipping, I guess, but it's a lot of fun, and it's a beautiful, beautiful view from way up there.
Oh, excellent.
So this next bit, Broadway, obviously something that New York is very well known for, and Broadway is back and reopen. I'm taking some 8th graders there in June. I don't know what musical we're going to see yet, but we're going to see something. And it's just, it's one of those quintessential New York experiences that you have to have. Broadway is actually it's more than just the one street. It's a huge section of the Times Square area. Tons and tons of musicals, and then like what they say is off Broadway and off Broadway. And it's really just about the theater size. So you could be seeing an off Broadway play in the heart of Times Square because the theater is smaller than a quote unquote Broadway theater. That statue of George Washington there is out in front of where they held the first inauguration, which is down in the Wall Street area, down in Lower Manhattan. So George Washington is out there because obviously he was the first inaugurated president, and that's where he was inaugurated, in New York. They had a big party for him there. It is I want to say it's a treasury building now, but it's really kind of cool to go inside and take a look, because it's small. Like you would not think, especially if you've seen some of the bigger federal buildings in Washington, D.C., you would not think that this tiny little building would be where they had Washington's inauguration, but it sure was.
Oh, wow. That's so cool.
New York City is home. So I'm going to talk a lot tonight about kind of offbeat, hidden, weird things about New York. New York is the only city in the United States with an actual piece of an Egyptian pyramid, and it is at the Metropolitan Museum of Art. That's it right there on the left. You can walk through it. It is pretty cool. It's actually, the thing that trips me out about the Met is the sheer size of it. I mean, it's like, it covers like, I think I want to say 4 or 5 city blocks. Oh, wow. It's just enormous. You definitely could spend an entire day there. You could probably spend an entire week there and not see everything. They have everything from Egyptian art to Art Deco pieces. They have tons of British art. They have Impressionism. They have an entire statuary collection with Roman and Greek statues. I mean, the place is enormous. It also has its like 3 or 4 restaurants inside it. I mean, it's huge. And the other thing that I think is really cool about the Met, and especially as a former teacher, is there's a book called From the Mixed Up Files of Mrs. Basil E. Frankweiler, where 2 kids actually run away and hide in the Metropolitan Museum of Art. And I always make my kids read it. And then when we actually go to the museum itself and we, wander around for we're only usually there like 3 or 4 hours. And they always say, oh yeah, I could see how they could hide here. Like there's a million places to hide here.
Teachers take their kid, their grades graders all over the place, like that, New York, Hawaii. So that's exciting. You're an exciting teacher.
And speaking of, here are some of my students. This was actually another kind of offbeat, cool New York tradition. This is the Easter Bonnet Parade, which takes place on Easter every year. They close down Fifth Avenue, and you can just walk along Fifth Avenue. As you can see, we were not really participating; we were just kind of enjoying. But the theme of the parade, I guess, is the Easter bonnet, and so people make these elaborate, enormous Easter bonnets. They all have a theme. I don't really remember what these ladies' theme was, but people will either dress entirely in costume or they'll just do the bonnets. We saw bonnets that had like a Beatles theme that day. We saw some lady who was dressed like an Easter peep, like her entire costume and her bonnet was just covered in peeps. These ladies, that they really liked the floral, I guess, of these ladies for some reason. So we just stop and take a picture. But it's really amazing because this very busy street, Fifth Avenue, and kind of the biggest section of it, the most, I don't know, traveled section of it, I guess, between Rockefeller Center and Central Park is just closed off. And anybody can walk it. I mean, we just got off of our tour bus and joined the group and walked up the street with all these people and saw all these amazing things.
Oh, that is cool.
Highly recommended. Yep. People even dress up their dogs. This little guy had on his tutu matched the hat of his owner, but I thought he was what was really cute. The next to that on the right is another view of One World Trade Center. You can kind of get an idea of just how massive it is. That's, taken looking up. Was almost difficult to get the whole thing in the picture. The tree in the foreground with all the green, you can see all the other trees are kind of missing their buds still at that point. That tree in the foreground that's green, that's called the survivor tree, because it is one of the only trees that survived the attacks that is still growing and flourishing from 9/11.
Oh my gosh. That is way cool. That is way cool.
So we do, oh, there we are. So we do a little, when I take the kids back in June, we do, I guess we do this day that I call the walking day. And we clocked it one year. We actually end up doing about between 10 and 15 miles of just walking in one day.
Oh, wow.
And the kids, they're young, they're used to it. But I always got to kind of prep myself for it. But we start the day in Lower Manhattan, walk all over Lower Manhattan. And I have some pictures of that coming up in a little bit. But we also cover quite a bit of ground in Central Park, which is where the kids are. They're standing in a fountain. The fountain was not operable when we're there, but it's recognizable to some people because it's what the fountain at the beginning of Friends is based off.
Oh, okay.
So the kids always want to go see it because, Friends is one of those classics that everybody's seen. So they always want to go stand in the Friends fountain. And these kids actually got to stand in it because there was no water that day. They were refurbishing it, getting it ready for the summer months. You can see there's like some painter's tape and stuff on it. But they were really excited that they could actually stand in it because they kept saying, well, we're going to get in it even, if it's on, even if it's wet, even if it's cold. And I was like, no, you're not. But when we saw that it was shut down, I said, okay, yeah, go ahead, jump in it. So they got their Friends moment picture. And that's actually one of the tours that Beyond Times Square does, is a Friends tour. And they take you around all the neighborhoods where the characters, supposedly lived. And they take you to where all the outside establishing shots are, so you can get your picture in front of Monica's apartment or in front of, where Central Park is supposed to be, or in the fountain.
Oh, that's cool. That's a real trip.
So this is my favorite part of Central Park. That's my brother and I on Easter a few years ago. This is Bethesda Terrace. And Bethesda Terrace is kind of known for, well, we'll see in a little bit, but it's where a lot of street performers ply their trade. So there's a beautiful section that I think is coming up in another couple of pictures, where a lot of musicians will play because the acoustics are so good. Oh, wow. This area, this outdoor area where the Bethesda fountain is, there'll be a lot of like kind of circus acts. There's usually a guy there who tries to put you in a bubble. In a soap bubble. So that's fun. The kids always like that. And then it overlooks the lake and stuff. In the terrace itself overlooks the lake in Central Park. So it's one of my favorite places in Central Park. And this particular fountain, Bethesda fountain, the angel on top was, I'm going to forget the movie now. Oh, Angels in America. There's a movie, several years ago. And the angel actually came to life in that movie, and it was I vaguely remember seeing the movie, but now that I've seen the terrace several times, I keep thinking I need to see it again, and then I don't. But that is also actually a wishing fountain, so people do throw money in it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so then this is the tunnel I was talking about, or the underside of Bethesda Terrace, because it is an actual terrace. So the ceiling and the walls are mosaic tiles. Oh. So that's like all teeny tiny mosaic tiles. And you can see there's a guy in the corner with his violin. It's insanely good acoustics in that little tunnel. And so you can hear people singing for like, I don't know. I mean, I don't want to say miles because it's the park and it's not that big, but for hundreds of feet, you can hear people singing or playing, and it's really cool.
Wow. I mean, that is beautiful. And I bet, I wonder if they've done any recordings, some music recordings.
Yeah, I don't know. But it's incredible acoustics. And it's seriously one of the most beautiful ceilings in all of New York. There's a lot of beautiful ceilings in New York. That is one of the more beautiful ones. And it does get cleaned and kind of picked up every once in a while. And you can see, where tiles are falling off because it is outside. I mean, it's open to the air, but they've done a really nice job of maintaining it.
Oh, excellent.
On the right there is the Dakota, where John Lennon lived with Yoko Ono, and Yoko Ono actually still lives there. That corner from about the penthouse to about that third row of windows, so from that larger section, that it's like that's their home, I guess you could say. It's they have that many apartments. And like I said, she still does live there, and we haven't seen her ever when we've traveled, but we have seen other famous people who live in the Dakota just kind of walking around because it is right next to Central Park. So if you're in Central Park, you'll see famous people all the time. I was there with my brother. We ran into Pierce Brosnan once. I mean, it's their home, and that's the cool thing I think about New York versus LA is you can be famous in New York and nobody cares. I mean, exactly. They walk around the park and they're just kind of another person. And in LA, that would not be the case at all. But the Dakota is another tour. There's a Beatles tour that goes all around New York and places they performed in the Dakota. And there's a section of Central Park called Strawberry Fields, where hundreds of countries actually came together after he was assassinated and dedicated that portion of the park to John Lennon and called it Strawberry Fields and built a mosaic. And it's a really cool, very peaceful place.
Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah, it's beautiful. I'm just staring at this, just admiring.
This is the inside of St. Patrick's Cathedral, which is huge. It's on Fifth Avenue. So if you do an Easter parade, you can definitely go in and take a look around. You can, when there are not services going on, you can just go in and walk around and take pictures and look. And they do have, oddly enough, a souvenir store for the church. But they also do have services there every week. So you can actually go to Mass at St. Patrick's Cathedral if you wanted to. We usually just go and look around and see the stained glass, and they do offer private tours. Some of the I don't know if they're priests or monks, but they do offer some tours, and there's always staff there that's happy to answer questions. The fun thing to do at St. Patrick's is, of course, go to the St. Patrick's Mass on it's usually right on St. Patrick's Day, regardless of what day of the week that is. But then I forget if it's the Sunday before or the Sunday after, they also do a really big Saint's Day, St. Patrick's Mass. And it's really cool because the whole church is actually kind of like bathed in green.
Oh my
God. It's just kind of fun to look at.
That is awesome. Wow, that is cool.
Other fun tours, the USS Intrepid, which is permanently docked. And I don't know how they got it there, because I look at the Hudson and I'm like, how did this giant aircraft carrier get up the Hudson? But it did. It's permanently docked on the Hudson. It's home to a space shuttle. It's home to, tens of 20s of 30s of different Air Force planes and different Navy planes. It's a really cool tour in and of itself, the aircraft carrier in and of itself, but then all the little specialty planes and things that you can see there are a lot of fun too. And when we take the students, they're always super excited because it features prominently in that Nicolas Cage movie where he steals the Constitution.
Oh my gosh.
There's a scene where he jumps off the back of it. and swims across the Hudson. And the kids are always like, why would he do that? It's so like after, we've been there a couple days, they're like, it's so gross. Why would he do that? Like, well, first of all, his stunt double did it. And second of all, he was probably in a tank in Hollywood. I doubt he was really on the Hudson, but the Intrepid is a fun tour. I've actually only done it once, but it's a lot of fun. On the right is the Knicks locker room at Madison Square Garden, which when I was talking about beyond Times Square and kind of the off the beaten path, like bucket list stuff they can do. One of them is, one of them is a tour of Madison Square Garden. And, a lot of people who are in town for the week or a couple days or whatever, they'll want to see a basketball game or a hockey game or maybe a concert at Madison Square Garden. And it's just not always possible because your dates don't always match up.
Right.
But a tour is almost always possible. And they are so much fun. They'll take you to the locker rooms. They'll take you up in the catwalk area in the rafters. They do a VR experience. So you kind of get to experience the entirety of Madison Square Garden through virtual reality. Mm-hmm. If there is nothing going on, they'll actually take you down onto the floor of Madison Square Garden. So you can see, from the player's perspective, what it looks like. And then they give you, of course, the history of the venue itself and the famous things that have happened there, everything from Muhammad Ali to, I think at this point, Billy Joel has the record for consecutive concert nights in Madison Square Garden.
Oh, wow.
So they'll take you all around and, they've got all kinds of memorabilia from performers who've been there. And of course, the Knicks play there. Trying to think of the Rangers play there, the New York Rangers play there. So you get to see both locker rooms and kind of how they're different. And it's a behind the scenes tour that whether you're a sports fan or a concert fan is well worth it.
Well, what's really exciting is that you're taking and showing stuff that is off the beaten path. And it's so cool because now I can talk to my daughter. Did you see this? Or did you especially for Easter?
It's true. Yeah. Oh yeah. She definitely needs to go to that parade. Yeah. This is what I mean by they take you up into the catwalk of Madison Square Garden. So you are up in the rafters.
Wow.
Looking down at Madison Square Garden. When we did our tour, they were getting ready for a UFC fight. So we actually could not get onto the floor. But it was kind of cool just to see how they prep the floor and how they move all of those bleachers and things are completely movable. So it was pretty cool to see how they set it up and how they get the ring ready and how they get all the seats in and all the, the venue packed. It was really interesting.
That is so cool. Yeah, I'm excited.
Now the famed Rockefeller Center. My two favorite times in the city are spring, because there's just so much weird stuff like the bonnet parade and that kind of thing, and the fall into winter, because the city really goes all out, really truly gets crazy for the holidays. That on the left is Rockefeller Center, and the Rockefeller Center Christmas tree. I don't remember, I'm trying to think if that was in 2019 or if that was just this past year with the decorations, but yeah, that tree is up from, it's up for quite some time, but it's lit from the day after Thanksgiving until sometime in January. And I was there, this year I was there like the 18th and 19th of January, and it was still up. But I will say they take it down very quickly, because we went by, I think it was there like the 18th and 19th, and we went by on the 18th and took a bunch of pictures. And then we went by on the 19th and we were like, oh, if you didn't get your pictures, like, now's your chance. And we rounded the corner and it was already gone.
Well, they're quick, but I'll tell you,
they're very quick.
That's got to be beautiful at night. It's
gorgeous. It's absolutely gorgeous. And then on the right there is the famous skating rink. So in the summer, it's kind of an open air cafe, but in the winter, it's a skating rink. And it's actually, you can see it, it's kind of set down from street level. And it's really cool. And the scaffolding that you see in the background was actually around the tree as they were putting it up and getting all the lights on it. So this was right in between It was right before Thanksgiving when I took that picture at the skating rink, because the tree was not quite ready for people to see it and to be lit. So you have the scaffolding around it until that happens.
So that's how they do it. All these tricks, right?
I know. And it's kind of fun. Like, one of the other cool things around Thanksgiving is obviously the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. And one of the cool excursions that we just started doing in the last 4 or 5 years is they actually have a balloon walk.
Oh my gosh.
So the night before, so Thanksgiving Eve, you take this, and it's like a 3-mile walk, and it's just all the balloons getting ready to go out the next morning.
Oh wow.
So all the balloon teams have already filled the balloons, but they're super like low down to earth because they don't want them floating away. But they filled all the balloons and they've anchored them off, and the teams are there kind of practicing, and it's really cool just to walk amongst all these huge balloons. And then the other side of that is, if you don't want to stay up late and see the balloon glow, so to speak, then the next morning for the parade, we've done a couple different things where you can actually sit out in bleachers in front of Macy's and watch the parade and that kind of thing. Or if you don't want to be out in the cold, there are several places that do like brunches, but they're up on like 20th 30th floor of buildings with these great terraces, and you can go out on the terrace and see the parade going on right below you, or you can stay inside and enjoy this fabulous breakfast and watch it as it's like closed circuit camera, like from the front of the building, and they show it in the restaurants and stuff. That's
cool.
It's really a different way to see it. And it's kind of, I've been there a couple times on Thanksgiving, never been able to get up early enough to go out, but I'm going to do it one of these times, because that's one of my bucket list things, is to see that parade.
Oh, in person, definitely. So that's cool.
Yeah. So no trip to New York is complete really without a trip to the Statue of Liberty. Although I will admit, I've been going to New York since I was a tiny baby. I did not actually see the Statue of Liberty for the first time until I was in my 30s.
Oh, that's okay. I've never seen it.
It's just, it's one of those things when you go and you're visiting family, you don't think like, hey, let's go out. But so it looks all kind of wet and icky, but it is actually the old like port, like it's not they weren't cruises. The immigrant ships were not cruises by any stretch of the imagination, but this is one of the ports, like the actual dock area and train depot where immigrants would come in from Ellis Island. This is on the New Jersey side. So if you take the ferry out to Liberty and Ellis Island from the New Jersey side, this is where you start.
Oh, wow.
And it's been around since the early 1800s.
Oh, wow.
They're refurbing it. So this is the inside. This is another really cool tour and something I highly recommend that everybody does. This is the inside of Radio City Music Hall, which was built in the 20s, I want to say, early 20s, as just a movie theater and concert venue during the Depression for people to kind of go and escape their troubles. And Mr. Roxy, the guy who built it, wanted it to be a total escape. So these are the chandeliers that are inside during the Christmas spectacular from the Radio City Rockettes. And I mean, they're insane. They're all hand strung Swarovski, which I never say right, crystals. And that big one that looks like a tree is only up during the Christmas spectacular. The other chandeliers that you see that look kind of like drums, those are up year round. But it is a beautiful, beautiful space. If you're fans, the first time I ever went, and they do a behind the scenes tour as well, that's incredible. They take you all over the entire building. You get to meet a Rockette. It's amazing. And if you, like me, grew up watching Annie, you have a soft spot for Radio City Music Hall and the Rockettes. And even if you didn't, I mean, their Christmas show is such a huge phenomenon that I highly recommend going. And, people think, oh gosh, that's an expensive evening. It really isn't. You can go out, and this is a hint and a tip and something that nobody else will tell you. The mezzanine seats that are up a little higher, and I think I have a picture of it later, they're actually some of the best seats in the house because the acoustics, those seats were made for the acoustics of the theater.
Oh my God.
So you hear it like you're in the front row, you see the whole stage, whereas if you're down a little lower, you don't sometimes see the whole stage. And fun fact, Mr. Roxy, who built the theater, those were his favorite seats.
Oh my God.
He did not sit down in the orchestra level. He sat up high where people think, oh, those are, the nosebleeds, the cheap seats, but they're actually some of the best seats in the house.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah. So we're back in Lower Manhattan now. So this church is another fun little off the beaten path. I shouldn't say fun because now I'm going to tell you why it's important and it's not so fun, but it's definitely a place you want to go to. It's a church. It's in Lower Manhattan. Actually, Alexander Hamilton is buried there. So for anybody who's big Hamilton fans, it's a big draw to go to this church. This is Trinity Church, but it's also where first responders were housed during the 9/11 crisis. So like on 9/11, 9/12, 9/13, they slept in pews there.
Oh my God.
So they would go, they'd come off their shift, their search and rescue shift, and they would come into that church and sleep there. And you can still see, when you go inside, you can see where there's like scuff marks and stuff from their equipment and their boots, and it's really kind of a touching place to go. And aside from that, it's a beautiful church. It was George Washington's church when he was president, and like I said, Alexander Hamilton is buried there. So,
oh wow,
all of my Hamilton kids were so excited. This is the fearless girl. She stands in front of the Wall Street Bull, or she used to. She doesn't anymore. I actually don't know where she stands anymore, but she used to stand directly in front of the bull on Wall Street, the bronze bull, kind of staring him down as he charges up Wall Street. She is, they call her guerrilla art because she was not commissioned. She just showed up one day.
Oh my God.
And so now, and people, obviously with anything, there were protests to keep her, protests to get rid of her, but she is the second most photographed statue in the city.
And they don't know who did it.
They do now. I don't remember how they found out or who it is exactly, but yeah, somebody did claim it. But yeah, it just showed up, and it does move around. Like I said, it's not in front of the bull anymore. She has her own space. But I always thought it was kind of cool when she was in front of the bull, just staring him down.
Yeah, definitely.
Yep. So that is the backside. On the left there is the backside of that same church. And that kind of obelisk, that's Hamilton's grave.
Oh my God.
So when we send you on the tour, we will let you know that is where Hamilton is buried. The building on the right, which I know doesn't really look like a building, it looks like art, but it is a building. It's actually a mall, and then it's a subway station and a train station. It's about a block from One World Trade Center, which you can kind of see in the background a little bit. It's called the Obelisk. And the funny thing about the obelisk is it cost more to build that than it did to build that building in the background, that One World Trade Center.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
And this part of it was funded by an arts grant. And you can see, somebody says, one of my students said it looked like a whale tail skeleton.
That's
which
clever.
I can kind of see it. Yeah. It is a really beautiful building inside. I'm not really sure that it fits where it is. And it's, but it's another one of those hidden gems in New York where if you're not down, there's really not a whole lot of reason to be in Lower Manhattan unless you work in Lower Manhattan. But buildings like this, like I said, there's a subway station in the basement, and it is a mall. And it's just kind of, it's fun to walk through and see what's there.
Oh, wow.
Back in Rockefeller. Oh, see, yeah, this was last year. So you can see the tree is already gone.
Like one day from
one day. Yep. But it was a better picture from the ground level of some of the rest of the decorations. And then on the right, it's starting to get dark. So you can see the angels are lit up, and they really do. It's hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of decorations. at Christmas.
Beautiful.
And it's the whole downtown. There's that chandelier from underneath. There's the so that picture before with the angels at Easter, they go just as crazy with their decor. And a couple years ago, it was all rabbits.
Oh my
Rabbits
God.
and eggs and flowers, and yeah, it's like Disney level topiary.
Can we say hi to your dog so everybody knows it's not your stomach?
You want to say hi?
Yes. Hi, Murphy.
Hi, Murph. Somebody was being needy.
Yeah, he's
Couldn't sit by himself today. Had to sit on a lap.
Oh,
Yeah.
awesome.
And then that in the ground where it says Christmas Tree Rockefeller Center, that is actually where they put the tree. So I was there, I think this was in the spring. And you walk right over where they have the tree in the winter, and it's like the tree stand. They pull that disc out, and that's where they sink the tree in so it doesn't fall over.
Oh, that is way cool.
So that is what you're seeing without a tree. There it is with the tree on the right. And I mean, you can see they take up like a lot of space with that tree, and they cut off a lot of the sidewalk because, on the other, like in the picture where you can see the medallion, you can see people walking. Like you walk over it unless it's the holidays, and then there's the tree there.
I wonder, did you ever find out how tall the tree is?
It's different every year. But I think last year's tree was something astronomical. It's like 200 something feet tall or something like that. It's tall.
Wow.
Lady Liberty, of course, secret time. There is the only way to get a good picture of her is from the boats that go up and down.
Oh, very good.
If you're actually on Liberty Island, it is really hard to get a good picture of her because the island itself is so small. It's hard to get a good vantage point where you can see all of her. So the best pictures are always from the water.
Oh, very good. Thank you. That's a good tip.
Yeah. Her base was paid for by the citizens of the United States. It was kind of our agreement with France that we'd pay for the base if they gave us the statue, and that's what happened.
That is cool.
So yeah, this is obviously this one. I was on the island. You can see it's really hard to get a good picture.
I still got it.
Yeah. On the right, this is a view towards the World Trade Center area from New Jersey, actually.
Oh, okay.
The statue, so the piece in the foreground is actually a piece of the Trade Center. The two pieces in the back are meant to mimic Trade Center 1 and Trade Center 2, the North and South Towers. And if you look right between them, you can't really see it in this picture because it was just a rainy, awful day. But if you look right in between them on a nice day, you can actually see the new One World Trade Center.
That took it. That is beautiful. That's a beautiful piece of memory.
And that's a cool tour to take, and it's one that I always recommend when people travel to New York. They take and actually go to Ground Zero and take the tour and go to the museum, because even if obviously I travel with students there all the time who weren't even alive when it happened, but even they get something out of it, and they kind of understand what it means, and they understand how everybody came together, and it was this moment in time for all of us. And I think it's a great place for the kids. It's a great place for them to get a little bit of empathy and learn a little bit. And for us, it's like it's a place to go and kind of pay your respects.
Everybody it's like a moment standing in time, I was in Puerto Rico. I was helping teach English to Spanish speaking kids, and my kids were there. We were living there, and all the teachers came to show me what happened. It was happening right then. Yeah. So that was, I was so glad I wasn't there.
I know.
I was so far away. So yeah, very good.
This is inside Ellis Island. So directly across, obviously, from Liberty Island is Ellis Island. This is, if you were an immigrant in the late part of the 19th, early part of the 20th century, this is where you would first come to be processed. And as spacious as it looks, there are pictures all over that show you that it was just miles and miles of lines
Oh, wow.
Because, you know, you had to have your medical tests, you had to prove you could speak the language, you had to prove that you were going to be able to get a job. So they gave you actual intelligence tests, that you had to be able to prove that you had somebody already living in the United States that would vouch for you and take care of you, so that you weren't becoming a burden on the country or the system or the state.
Oh, wow.
It's a really interesting place to go, and it's pretty crazy how many people came through.
Can you imagine the courage, bravery? I mean, some kids just went by themselves because their parents were on a ship. This is amazing, absolutely amazing.
And that's the outside of it. And I mean, you can see how massive it looks, but every little piece, I mean, there's dorm rooms in there. There's a hospital across the way that they're actually refurbishing now, and they're hoping to have open, I think in the next couple of years. It's hard hat tours only, so I've never done it because I'm not going to go over. I'm going to wait till it's fixed up. Yeah. But yeah. Oh, and then here's, like I said, you do get to meet a Rockette when you do the background tour at Radio City Music Hall, which, I mean, it's so fun. And she'll, you know, they talk to you about the parade, they talk to you about their show, they talk to you about, you know, just everything. And then you can get your picture taken.
Wow, that's a great picture. That really is. How much fun.
So there we are, standing in kind of what I was telling you earlier, those quote unquote cheap seats. And you can see how far away you are from the stage, but just because of the way the clamshell works, you can see how it's like super narrow down by the stage, and then it widens out as you get higher and higher. The acoustics are perfect.
Oh, wow. That's good to know.
It's really cool. And then that's one of the ushers are all trained to give the tours.
Very good.
And they're phenomenal. They're so fun. And we actually got to, on these backstage tours, we got to go into, Mr. Roxy had an apartment.
Oh, okay.
Like up at the top of the theater. So they take you up there and let you walk around, and it's a lot of fun.
Now he knows that, right?
Well, he's dead, but yeah.
Oh, that's right. Okay, I'm sorry. That was funny.
No. He's been dead a long time, but yeah. And then they take you out on the stage, and that is the one thing that you don't really get to do at Madison Square Garden. They generally only give tours of Radio City Music Hall when there's nothing going on. And so we did get to go out on the stage. Oh, cool. So we had to hang out on the stage, and they talk about, I mean, there's pulley systems and lever systems. They during the Christmas Spectacular have live camels.
Oh my God.
Stage, and they talk to you about how they get them off and on stage. I mean, they've got more animatronics than Disneyland. It's amazing. And then you can see those seats out there.
They're beautiful.
It's amazing. And just everything's a circle. And the like I said, the acoustics are incredible.
Oh, wow. That is something else.
Oh, no trip to New York is complete without those three things. Pizza, pretzels, and hot dogs from a street cart. And
that's what I heard.
If you can have all three of those things, then your New York dining experience is complete now. I mean, yes, it's true, but also we do a lot of, I mean, New York is such a melting pot for food. We do a lot of gastronomy tours. So we can do like a whole week or weekend where you're just getting to go to different restaurants. There's a couple of Top Chef finalists who have restaurants in the city. There's a couple who have restaurants out in Brooklyn. Wow. There's this huge movement towards farm to table. So there's lots and lots of that. Plus then just, you know, the fun New York foods like bagels. Oh, I don't have a picture of a bagel. That's what I need. That's what I need to get next time is a picture of a bagel. You know, bagels, pizza, the cart vendors in Central Park. I've had clients who made it their mission to eat from every cart they came in contact with in Central Park. And I mean, some of them are duplicates, but they have a lot of stuff that, I mean, pretzels and hot dogs, other cities have those. New York is kind of known for them. But in Central Park in the winter, especially, they have the hot nut carts.
Oh, wow.
With the walnuts and the chestnut, like actual chestnuts. Like when kids are like, oh, like those are really a thing. You're like, yes, those are really a thing. They're not just in a song.
Oh, wow.
And pecans and, you know, like candied ones and spicy ones, and they're warm. So it's a fantastic like winter experience is to get some hot nuts in Central Park.
Oh, I can bet. Oh, that's gorgeous.
That Empire State Building. super fun, beautiful, beautiful. It was the tallest building in the world for about a month. And then they built some taller ones. But it only took them a year and a half to build. They wanted to get it built as quickly as possible because it was during the Depression, and they wanted to make sure that they could fill the office space with workers. Didn't quite work out the way they thought it would, but now it is. It's actually mostly office space. They do light it up in different colors depending on the time of year, depending on, if there's something going on. 4th of July, it's usually red, white, and blue. Christmas, it's usually red and green. They sometimes put a heart on it.
That is
for Valentine's Day. And then like different companies and stuff will do events where they get to light up the Empire State Building in the color of their choice. It's fun.
Oh, that is way cool.
Yeah. There's another view of One World Trade from the water. And then again, Rockefeller Center with the tree. That must have been a different year because I don't see the angels.
That's okay. We still like the tree.
Yeah, no, the tree is still gorgeous.
Just gorgeous.
And then this is actually, I helped train a group of teachers to take their own student groups back to New York. Yeah, so this was all of us. And then we were at, this is again, Bethesda Terrace, my favorite place in Central Park. So the terrace is directly behind you. Those tunnels and things are behind all the people's heads. And then in front of them is the fountain.
That is beautiful.
A lot of marriage proposals take place at Bethesda Terrace. Just kind of funny. I think it's kind of funny anyway.
They're by the wishing pond, right?
Yep, exactly. Yeah.
Wishing yes.
Yeah. I've been there a couple times with school groups where you can tell somebody's setting up for one.
Oh, okay.
And they always want to stay and watch. And I always think, but what if she says no? We're not staying. We're going.
How cool is that? How much fun. Oh, these are beautiful photos.
Yeah. So just the one on the left is just an aerial photo of the island of Manhattan. That's lower Manhattan, closest to us in the winter. I'm actually not sure who took that. And then the next one is the Empire State Building, of course, and I actually took that one. Yeah, it's it's just one of the prettiest skylines, obviously, in the world.
Yeah, yes. This is a really strange, I guess, question statement or something. But looking at Manhattan, it looks like all those big, heavy buildings, like it would just sink.
I know. Well, they build them, especially with One World Trade and a couple others, they build them down into the bedrock. Oh. So they do actually, like when you see their foundations being poured, their foundations are like 6 stories below ground.
Oh, wow.
And so, yeah, I mean, I imagine that the Hudson probably puts a lot of pressure on those foundations, but that probably helps with their stability somehow. I don't know. But yeah, I always think that too. I'm always like, why? How are they that close to the shore? I don't understand.
It's like that in Venice,
Yeah. It's gonna be the next. Yeah. So the Empire State Building, the fun thing about the Empire State Building is, so it is a building of offices. And for years and years, you could always ride up to the observation deck and look around, but it was just kind of like, buy your ticket, get on the elevator, go up to the top, look around, leave. They've gotten really smart. And in it's probably only been the last 3 years, they've completely redone the inside entrance to the Empire State Building.
Oh, wow.
So now you get a real kind of history tour of how it was built, who the first occupants were, kind of the race to be the tallest building in New York. And then, of course, they do touch quite a bit on King Kong.
Yeah,
and,
great.
This is as you're waiting in line.
Wow.
Photo opportunity. So you get to do your best Fay Ray impression and put yourself in King Kong's paw and have your picture taken.
How cool is that? That is way cool. Good job.
It's just another little hidden fun thing. This is Grand Central Terminal. A lot of people call it Grand Central Station. It's not a station. It's an end point.
Oh, okay.
So you can only come into the station. You don't go other places in New York from Grand Central Terminal. Once you're there, you're there. This is another one of my favorite ceilings in the city. So there's all these gorgeous chandeliers on one end. And then of course it has that very famous constellation ceiling where they've just painted the entire ceiling as the constellations. And actually First Lady Jackie Kennedy did a whole restoration project with it. It was the train smoke had caught, like from trains coming in, had caused the ceiling to be basically black. And they started restoring it, and underneath it is this gorgeous blue and gold ceiling that looks like it's painted like, you know, the sky. So they did a whole restoration project there. It's really a fun place. There's a lot more to it than just, you know, transportation. One of the best oyster bars in the city is there. There's a hidden speakeasy bar up on one of this, I think it's the second or third floor, that it used to be the entrance to some part of the Amtrak station, and now it's this hidden speakeasy. It's so fun. The acoustics in there are really weird too. You can see everything kind of like curves toward the center. I don't know if I sent the picture, but there's a place where you can stand in one corner, and if you whisper into the corner, the other side of the room can hear you.
Now that's sweet. That's really sweet.
Very cool.
Yeah, very, very good.
And I mean, you know, it says it all. I love New York. It is someplace that even if you're not a big city person, everybody should experience at least once. So much more to do than just Times Square. I mean, another reason I really love that company beyond Times Square is a lot of people think that's all there is to New York is Times Square. And it is so much more than Times Square.
Oh, I see. This is fabulous. I'm really having an exciting time. So let's get out your information.
Yeah. So, sorry, I just started to choke a little bit. So that's my email, Erin@huckleberrytravel.com. Our website, like you said earlier, is super easy, just huckleberrytravel.com. Our mainline number is there, 866-753-2580. I am extension 3. Yeah, get out and do that. We're happy to help you book whatever, whether it's New York or beyond New York. But
what is so cool about you is you're a former school teacher, and your students are benefiting from that. And now that because you're in the travel agency now, I mean, you tell it like I'm in a classroom and I'm just like on the front seat leaning forward.
Oh, thanks.
You are so cool to do this. So Erin, I can't thank you enough for being here and really sharing a trip of New York. I really didn't know anything about New York except the airport. I fly in, I fly out.
You know what though? They're even getting smart with the airports. I was just in New York last weekend. I had not flown into or out of LaGuardia in a long time because it's just such a terrible airport. And I flew out of LaGuardia and I got there and I was like, it's a whole new airport.
Oh wow, they
beautiful and brand new, and it's amazing. It's truly state of the art. Everything from TSA down to baggage claim is just amazing there now. Well, and then on the way in, I flew into JFK, which I also hadn't done in a long time. And usually I fly into Newark. And they have the whole TWA museum now. So there's the TWA Hotel, which is the old terminal that you probably know from like movies and TV. It's a hotel. It's very like mid-century modern and gorgeous and fun. And then they have just outside of the hotel area, they have old TWA planes.
Oh my gosh.
And like one of them they've turned into like a nightclub. And like, yeah, I mean, you can take tours and stuff there. It's there. I mean, New York is very smart when it comes to tourism. That's for sure.
Cherry on top. No, you can enjoy the airports.
No, exactly.
Well, Erin, thank you so much. This has been such a treat. I sure appreciate you each and every week. Friday nights, it's all about the fun. And of course, it's travel time with our Huckleberry Jewel. And that's Erin with Huckleberry Travel. So thank you so much, Erin.
Thank you. We'll see you soon.
You bet. We sure appreciate it. Wasn't that fun? This is just such a sweet treat. So definitely go to huckleberrytravel.com and let's get your friends on here. Let's book a tour to New York and have fun. And Easter time, start planning your bonnet. Wow, that was great, Erin. I just love New York. Can't wait to go there and visit. My daughter lives there now, so that's pretty exciting. Well, not only that, we have our personal traveler. He's the family guy. He takes his kids and family and beautiful wife all around the world. He's been in 70 countries. and he happens to be my son. I'm so excited. And he's going to talk about a couple of his visits in New York as well, to add to it from a tourist perspective. So with that, I just can't wait to introduce Andy Bowman.
Hi.
Welcome, Andy. And I can't see you, your picture.
Can't see me?
Yeah, there you are. So
okay,
I'm really excited to start. So how many times, you've been in New York a lot, haven't you?
I have. I don't know how many. I have to sit there and kind of count through the years. So I mean, through probably the last 20 years, I love New York. It's a great place. So I've been there several times.
Okay, excellent. Well, right now you and your family are still in Costa Rica. You had a bit in Panama, and we'll talk about that next time. Beautiful pictures, by the way. So let's get your slides up and let's talk about your visit on a tourist perspective in New York. So this is one of your pictures. So I'm just gonna let you start. I did the daytime pictures and then the nighttime. So I'm gonna let you take it over.
Okay, well, and unfortunately, I wish I had better pictures. I have, going through these, I realized how few pictures I take anymore. Just bad about it. And then a lot of them are at home, and like I said, I'm still in Costa Rica, so I wish there's much more to see than what I have in these photos. But this is the Manhattan skyline, essentially taken from the Brooklyn side of the East River. So this is near, I think, Domino Park. So a real good shot. A lot of people go to New York. I mean, you want to get that Manhattan skyline. A great place to take that picture is in Brooklyn, which is just on the other side of the river.
Oh, excellent.
And there's another picture, same thing, the skyline. I think on that side near Brooklyn, there's 3 bridges, I believe. I'm not a New Yorker, so I'm sure someone from New York could probably correct me, but I think there's the Brooklyn, the Manhattan, and the Williamsburg Bridge. I can't say which one that is. I think that's the Williamsburg Bridge, but of course everyone knows Brooklyn Bridge. That's in all the Spider-Man movies. So anyways, that's in that area. So it's a good place to get a nice photo and kind of see the skyline. So this picture is actually, so a good way to see, everyone wants to see Statue of Liberty usually. I've never actually done one of the tours. So there's a million tours you can take where they have private, or not, excuse me, not private, but like smaller ferries that go directly to the island, and you can then go up the statue. I'm usually always on a little bit more of a budget, and waiting in a line to go in a statue is not usually how I can spend my time. So a great way to do it for free is to take the Coney Island ferry. So this is just a ferry that leaves from the south end of Manhattan and goes to Coney Island, but along the way it passes the Statue of Liberty. So it's a great way to see it and it's a fun ferry ride. You can just see the Manhattan skyline, you can see Brooklyn. Once you get to Coney Island, it's fun. So anyways, I'd always suggest it.
And that is excellent.
So then there's another shot. It was a beautiful day. This was in summer. I've gone a couple, I think every season actually in New York, and every season in New York has something new to offer. So this was in the summer, but yeah, it's a great day.
Oh, excellent. It's beautiful. And that's probably the only way you can get a full picture of the Statue of Liberty anyway.
Yeah, by boat. It's too far. I mean, you can see it from the shoreline in a couple of different places, but it's a real far shot. So, I mean, if you want to get close, you got to do it by boat. You'll see so down in the foreground there, you'll see like a smaller, what looks like a small boat. That's probably a tour boat, and they'll go directly to the island. And then, which I need to do one of these days. I just never have. We just always have done this, but.
That's okay. You can still, okay. And where are you guys at here?
This was, I want to say this is Black, gosh, the restaurant, I want to say it's Black something. I'll have to look it up. It's a burger shop in New York. So we went recently, right before Christmas, in the month of December. It's kind of my favorite time to go to New York, actually, is really around Christmas time. If you go after Thanksgiving, before Christmas, that's when they have all the festivities. They have the lights, they have the Christmas tree, they have ice skating, lots of kind of European themed Christmas markets, like outdoor markets, which I think I have a picture of one of those maybe here, hopefully. But those are a lot of fun. It's just real festive. It's a great way to kind of kickstart your holiday. And food is a big thing in New York. I mean, if you love food, this is the place to go, because you can find every type of cuisine. And this was a place, and the thing about New York is it's constantly changing, right? There's so many restaurants coming and going. What was hot last year is not going to be this year. So, one of the best things to do, what I do at least, is I just look at reviews. I look at like Google reviews, like some of the top things that people, the places with the top reviews. And this was a burger chain that was known for its milkshake sundaes. And
yeah, look at those. They're gorgeous. I'm like angry looking at it.
It's a great way to get your kids through through several hours of shopping too. You give them a little carrot at the end of the day, and
they go for it. What is the one that your daughter Adelaide has? I mean, it's like
that thing's got, I don't remember. I want to say it was like the birthday cake or something like that, but it's literally, I think, like birthday cake ice cream with gumballs, and like on the top there, I think it's cotton candy. I mean, it's literally just a ton of sugar, and no one could finish it, but it's fun, right? So
yeah, it's a, like you said, a carrot at the end of the stick, but a big sundae one. Okay, awesome. This is gorgeous. This is nighttime at Christmas time.
Yeah, so like I said, personally, one of my favorite times is Christmas, or that period of time. It's just New York's lit up. It's just festive. So on the left there is actually Broadway, or near Broadway. You can see kind of some of the billboards for some of the Broadway shows. I would definitely recommend going and seeing a show while you're in New York, even if you don't think you're a person who likes theater. I bet you will. Like, if you go to one, you're not going to walk away disappointed. Like, the quality is amazing. And it's something, if you're taking the time to go there and spent the money to get there, just spend a little bit more and go to a Broadway show. You won't regret it. So.
Oh, that's excellent. Yeah, that's what I want to do. And then on the right, as that tree, when does that tree go up?
That's Rockefeller Center. So that's the I think it's, they call it the Rockefeller tree. It's I think it's right after Thanksgiving. They do that ceremony, and I believe every year they get like a tree from a different place. I want to say, I remember one year, I think they got one from Idaho. It was a big thing. They like took it across the country on the back of a truck and put it up in Rockefeller. And of course, then there's the ice skating ring right there that, that's the other thing about New York. It's been in so many movies and people's favorite movies. That's, my kids love to like run around New York and see all the spots where scenes of, or Home Alone 2 or something like that. So Rockefeller Center and the ice skating ring there has been in a ton of movies, and it's fun. It is crowded, and I personally, I think ice skating is better in Central Park. There's an ice skating ring there as well. It's bigger, and it's not nearly as crowded. If you're going to go ice skating, I would personally suggest that, but it's still fun to walk around here and just kind of,
excellent insight. Okay, what about these?
Let's see. So on the left, that's Times Square. So it's the Times Square area. So that's the thing about New York too. It's always lit up. So I mean, I can't even tell you what time of night this is. It was probably midnight at least, but it's like streets are still filled with people. This was just this last December, so there's still some COVID restrictions. I don't know what their rules are currently, but it was pretty easy actually. I mean, there was places you'd have to wear masks, like going into, they did have a QR code for some restaurants that you were required. I don't know what those things are changing all the time. So obviously take a look into that, but it didn't really stop us from being able to enjoy ourselves. And a lot of stuff's outside anyway. So on the left here, that's Times Square, which there's just it's full of lights, and it's just a place where people congregate. And of course, like some of the best shopping, and Christmas is the season of shopping, so you can't do any better shopping than in New York. It has everything that coming from, like, I live in Idaho, so we get a couple big stores, but there all the newest fashions, the newest toys are out on the market, and it's a lot of fun for kids too, because you know, it's Christmas and you're going to make a long list of your Christmas wishes. So
that is so cool.
on the right is Hadestown. And so this is an actual Broadway show we went to.
Oh,
So
okay.
we kind of just did some research on, you know, we chose one we wanted to see. Hadestown is what it's called. This was actually a really cool one. It came out right before, I think it was in 2020, like November of 2019. It won, I want to say like 6 Tony Awards.
Oh, wow.
I could be off. It was 6 or 7, and won one for Best Musical though. So which really says a lot. And I feel like I had never actually heard of it. And I mean, I'm not on top of everything New York, but I think, you know, the theaters got shut down right after this came out. And when we got there, they just reopened. The Broadway shows just reopened in like November of just this last year, so 2021. And so it didn't get a lot of time to be to be showing. So I feel like it didn't get out there much, but it was an awesome show. It's I wanted to take my kids to something that was also a learning experience, and so it has it's a Greek mythological story that uses music from the 20s, like this kind of New Orleans jazz music, but telling this Greek mythological story. It was really good. So.
Oh, wow. That's excellent. You're a good dad. Hey, not only that, you're a good grandpa. On this lower left, your oldest daughter, Zoe, has her little baby.
Yeah, he went with us. So that was cool. We got to have the whole family, my oldest daughter and my grandson. That was his first airplane ride. So he flew across the country to New York and flew back. And it was.
So you didn't have to worry much about him being out there with all the restrictions and everything?
It wasn't that, you have to, you know, it wasn't that bad. I mean, there's restrictions, but it's a little bit more difficult. I mean, if you're going to New York, you're going to have to expect, you're going to be around people, you're going to wait in line. It's like being at the airport, you know, nobody loves to wait in line at the TSA, but if you do, it's worth it. You know, you get to go on the trip. Same with things there. It's like maybe we had to wait a little bit longer to get into a restaurant. But you know, it was pretty easy to navigate. It wasn't that difficult. And we had a baby with us, and it wasn't that hard.
Yeah, that is cool. And he's a cutie. Of course, that's my great grandson and your grandson. So that is so cool. So welcome to New York, right? Okay, right. This is a beautiful picture of you and your gorgeous wife. Let's talk about this.
So that's on the Brooklyn side again. So we actually stayed. You know, and I can tell you a million things about New York and where to stay. It's a huge city. I mean, Manhattan's kind of the epicenter. If you've never been, that's usually where you'll start. There's a million attractions in Manhattan, you know, all the big ones, Empire State Building, Rockefeller Center, the Carnegie Hall, Radio City Hall, all that stuff is on Manhattan. But Brooklyn is really the neighborhood of New York, or it's one of, I mean, it's just a great place. It's so this side is Williamsburg, Brooklyn, which is the closest to the river. And so this was a fun little shot. You could just go right across. We took the subway. We stayed in Brooklyn, actually. If you're on a budget, that's kind of the place to stay, because Manhattan can get to be expensive, especially during the holidays. So, and in staying in some of the neighborhoods, we rented an Airbnb in Brooklyn, and it really kind of gives an opportunity to live. You know, kind of see what a day in the life of a New Yorker is, you know, ride the subway to Manhattan and stuff. And so it's just a fun experience. But yeah, this is a really great place in Brooklyn too. This area, there's a lot of stuff there, a lot of great restaurants. So yeah, and I think right there, I think the bridge actually on the left, I think that's Brooklyn Bridge. if I remember my list.
Gorgeous. Yeah, just a gorgeous photo of you two and everything. So this looks fun.
Yeah, this was taken a few years back. This was a pub. So the south end of Manhattan, kind of in the financial district. This was a pub, and I think the name of it's actually on the next slide, but you find a lot of history in New York. I think it used to be called New Amsterdam, if I remember right. So this was like one of the oldest pubs in the United States. I want to say it was like 300-400 years old. Can't recall exactly the story behind it, but you know, lots of famous patrons through the years. I want to say some of the original revolutionaries had dined here. There was a reason it attracted my attention, but it wouldn't be the only one in New York. I mean, that's the thing about, especially if you come from the West Coast side of the country, I feel, on the West Coast, it's so much newer for us. Like, it was settled, so much more recently. 150 years is recent, right? So you go to the East Coast, it's a lot older, a lot of the buildings, a lot more history. It just goes back a lot farther. And with that, you can find some really neat establishments that you can kind of sit in and be like, wow, Ben Franklin probably sat here at one time. So it's a cool experience.
That is cool. Yeah, he's one of my favorites too. This is excellent. Okay, so
so the picture on the left is to the outside of that tavern, and it's called Francis's Tavern, and it's a tavern museum, and it's museum because it's so old, right? It's got lots of famous patrons have been there through the years. But if you do a quick Google search, or if you get a great travel agent that kind of sets it up all for you, you can you'll find all these places. Do a search of like top 10 historical places in New York, and I usually go on my Google Maps, I heart things, and then I kind of go around town, and it's part of the exploratory process. So
that's
on
excellent. And we
on
have
the right,
own Huckleberry Travel agency with Erin. So this is if you want to go.
Yeah, they'll know everything. They take care of all that stuff, so you don't have to do all the guessing work like I do.
Excellent. So on the right.
That one I think we already showed. That's the picture of the Hadestown Broadway show.
That's right. Okay, so I duplicated. All right, so here we go. That's it. I was just getting into it. So let's, what are the best things, because you travel as a family, what are the best things that, now this is kind of a weird question, but the things that you never forget, and by experience, because you traveled so many places. So what are the key little things that you must always have with you besides the basics? Is there like certain things that you found out glad you brought that wire hanger because you got stuck somewhere? I mean, I don't know. Just, do you have any of those that you must have when you travel?
It definitely would depend on your destination, right? So if you're going to if you're going to Europe or something like that, you definitely want to have like your adapter, your plug adapter, something like that. I find that the biggest thing is people overpack, and I overpack. So I mean, I've been doing, it's funny, my wife and I always say, we're like, okay, this next time, there's always stuff we take and then we never use. And then we sit there and we're like, okay, next time we're gonna downsize it. We're not gonna bring this. And then it always happens. We always end up going, well, I might need this, I might need that. And then there's something you bring and you just never use. So, today's day and age, it's so easy to replace any little thing. I mean, it's not difficult no matter where you are. If you forget that plug adapter, you can pick one up for $15 somewhere if you need it, So it's granted. So, I mean, it definitely does depend on your destination.
Okay, that's
there's
awesome.
There's things that are harder to replace, but your personal cord for your computer or something like that.
Well, I forgot to ask Erin this, but with all your travels on airplanes, and I know that you and your wife used to work for several airlines for years and years, but right now I know I'm just thinking, okay, to travel, I know I want to bring shoes that match each outfit and a purse to go with it. So I need some tips because I know it's expensive to have a lot of luggage. So what airplane gives you the best free luggage thing without having to pay for it?
I don't know anymore. That's a good question. I think I want to say Southwest gives you free luggage, is what I've heard. That said, though, I think even the ones that do charge, I don't think they charge. It's not that much, really. I mean, it's great to save $30. I want to say, like, my flight here on United, if you have lately I fly United, Alaska. If you have the credit card, you get. I know with United, you get a free checked luggage. I think for 2 people, so we utilize that. But it's like $30 for the second one. So I mean, obviously $30 is $30, but if it's gonna make the difference on your vacation you've already paid thousands on, then pay the $30 and take the clothes you want. So I mean, if you're that would be my wife could speak to that more as far as matching purses and shoes, and definitely at certain
And if
trips.
it's winter time, a different coat to go with a different outfit. Okay. And
Yes,
I gotta condense, but still, if it's New York, you just gotta be in there, you know?
You do find, like, I mean, you do that, maybe it depends on how often you go. I granted, if you do it once in a while, sure. If you do it a lot, you start getting sick of carrying all that stuff around, and you start to be like, okay, this one New York, I bought a black leather coat before going, because that's a style that kind of fits with everything there, and I can wear it like you know, when it was cold out, and you know, you kind of learn little tricks like that. So.
Oh, okay. Well, I should appreciate it. And it's good to know that research is the best policy to just really maximize and get a good travel agency if you want to go with their knowledge and expertise, right?
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
I sure appreciate you, Andy. And thanks so much for sharing these wonderful pictures. Next time, we're going to talk about your trip to Panama, right?
Yes. We just got back last week. So
Yeah.
I've got more pictures of that too. Unfortunately, like I said, a lot of my pictures I don't have with me right now because I'm not at home, but I got some good ones of Panama. So.
Yeah, I'm so excited. Well, for next time, I mean, you were staying in a place that was actually in the water on stilts. And it was like something in a dream, heaven dream. It was so beautiful.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Yes, I can't wait to do it. Well, thank you so much, Andy, for being on our 9 at Night, where it's all about the fun every Friday night. Sure appreciate you.
Thanks for having me. And my internet's starting to go out, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks. We'll see you. Thanks so much.
You bet. Take care. Bye-bye.
All right. Wasn't that fun? I'll tell you, it's all about New York, and it's all about making a positive difference in the Big Apple. So I just absolutely love both Erin and Andy's different takes on New York. Boy, it's like well-rounded, okay, on different perspectives. So I love it. So 9 at Night is all about different topics every night with incredible people that make a positive difference. Monday night, it's all about the business. Tuesday, it's all about the drive, and that's more racing, you know, that type of wonderful sports. And Wednesday, it's all about the talent. We have amazing, from music to fine arts, worldwide known. And so we have amazing talent there. Wednesday or Thursday, it's all about the money. We have a guru when it comes to finance and the Federal Reserve, a must. And Friday is when you relax and have fun with. It's all about the fun on Friday nights, which we are tonight. So anyhow, I want to say thanks so much for joining us today. And we're just so glad to be able to take a full view of a destination, the place. So the best place is if you want to go Huckleberry Travel, it's just huckleberrytravel.com. And you can take that to individual tourist perspective too, like what Andy does. So a mix of everything. Have an incredible week, and we'll hopefully catch you on Monday. If not, we'll definitely see you next Friday. Okay, talk to you soon.